views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Sentite la cultura. Can you feel the culture tonight? Even these beautiful photos. As soon as you walk in, you saw those great pictures. Feel like you're there, almost. Let's bring it back to the Bronx. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about the Can Corner program, or Changing Attitudes Now. It's a health initiative that was started in 2011 by the Office of the Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr. Through creative partnerships with our medical, business, educational, community faith-based sectors, Bronx Can aims at improving the overall health indicators of the Bronx by shifting how Bronxites think about and feel about themselves, their community, and their environment. Can eventually motivate them to make the physical changes needed for their healthier lives. Our philosophy is to meet people where they were, offering simple daily adjustments that can make a measurable difference in their health outcomes, whether it's weight loss, increased physical activity, or a change in diet. The Can Healthcare can achieve it. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about our main speaker this evening. We all know him very well. And we also want to take a moment, and we're also going to continue. And our main speaker will introduce our award recipients tonight. Elected Bronx Borough President to the special election of April 21st, 2009, Ruben Diaz Jr. previously served in the New York State Assembly since 1997, representing the 85th Assembly District. Ruben Diaz Jr. was a champion for working families in the Bronx. He demonstrated a passion for constituent service, social advocacy, and community empowerment. He has proven himself to be a fearless and tireless advocate for justice and equality for all. In the State Assembly, Ruben Diaz served as the chair on the Committee of Election Law and on the Assembly Standing Committees on Education, Ways and Means, and Children and Families. And he has also led the charge for a new living wage in New York City. Diaz also put forth a strong agenda to bring new business to the Bronx while also making it easier for existing businesses to stay. He is a public housing advisory on the Public Housing Advisory Council, which he created, which meets and discusses to financiers to the issues faced by residents of the borough's public houses. A lifelong resident of the Bronx, Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. lives in the Southeast Bronx with his wife Hilda, Jarina, and his two sons.
Is everyone having a good time? How was the food? So let me just thank John Cavelli and Rosemary and all of the wonderful people here at the Bronx Zoo. Let's give them all a strong round of applause for hosting us once again. I'm so happy that so many of you came out tonight to take part and participate in this wonderful celebration. I know that we are joined by some dignitaries, and I just want to recognize them. He stepped out, but we were joined by State Senator and leader of the IDC, Jeff Klein. Let's give him a strong round of applause. We are joined by New York State Assembly member Mark Jonai. We're here with the Supreme Court Administrative Judge, my good friend, Judge Doug McKeon. Thank you for being with us, Judge. We have Andrea Siegel, the female district leader of the 80th Assembly District. Andrea, thank you for being here. Tom Messina, representing Congressman Joe Crowley. We have Melissa Lomba, Chief of Staff of City Councilwoman Annabelle Palma. District Manager of Community Board 6, John Sanchez. We have the Chair of the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, Steve Kaufman, as well as the President of the BOEDC, Marlene Sindrome. We are also joined by none other than the founder of RAIN, who just received her doctorate yesterday. Miss Beatrice Castiglia Catullo, who is, how old is Beatrice? Beatrice is 101 years young. What was that? 100. That's it? Okay, I'm sorry. Never mess with a lady's age. Don't make her older than what she is. Beatrice is not 101. She's just 100. And she received her doctorate degree yesterday. An Italian-American woman. We love her. We've also been joined by the chair of the Enrico Fermin Cultural Committee, Ms. Frances Fusco. Thank you for being with us here, Ms. Fusco. Let's give her a strong round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, my partner at Borough Hall, Deputy Borough President Aurelia Green. Deputy. Aurelia Green and I want to thank all of you for coming here tonight. This is a wonderful occasion that we continue to have. It's a tradition now here in the Bronx where we celebrate all of the wonderful things in our borough, and that includes the contributions, and that includes a wonderful, rich cultural history of the Italian-American community here in the borough of the Bronx and in the city of New York. I say that because, as John Cavelli said earlier, the Italian-American community has literally helped build this borough. When you look at this beautiful structure, look at the architecture, look at the effort and the commitment that was put in this structure and so many others. Just this week, if you did not know, the American Planning Association named Arthur Avenue one of the 5 greatest streets in the entire country. And it's not to say that things don't change. When you look at Arthur Avenue now, you see a robust Albanian community. When you see Arthur Avenue, you see a vibrant Mexican community. But Arthur Avenue is strong, and it was chosen because of what the Italians gave us. The Italian-American community gave us great cuisine. They have been touching the Bronx, the city, and this country in many ways and in all facets of life. On a personal note, I remember in my grade school, PS 31, our principal, Miss Carol Russo, Italian-American. You remember Carol Russo? She's part of this sisterhood, right? Let's give Carol Russo a strong round of applause. She was a wonderful principal, touched my life, and that's the reason why I'm here today as the Bronx Borough President. Also, let's not forget this, that we appreciate the Italians. There's this kingship that we have, whether we are Latinos, African Americans, Irish. In fact, back in August, there was an earthquake that hit in Italy, and over 260 casualties there. We here in the Bronx, we work together. A young man, a city council person who's not here today by the name of Richie Torres, helped organize an effort with so many of the businessmen and women we were able to get material, and we raised about $500,000 that we sent out there to help the victims. And that's what happens here in the Bronx. That's how we take care of our very own. That's how we show the Italian community how much we appreciate them. And so what we also doing here tonight is that we want to take a pause and honor individuals who have committed themselves, not just to the Bronx, but to the entire city and the broader tri-state area. One of them is here today, and he's our first honoree, and that's Mario Cilento. Mario, yeah. Mario has worked at the New York State AFL-CIO since back 1992. He was elected president of this union in 2011. As president, he has focused on transforming the way people see the labor movement to ensure New Yorkers understand unions are made up of people who work and that we are all connected by that work. He has concentrated on harnessing the collective power of the state's AFL-CIO's 2.5 million members statewide by transforming the existing political campaign framework into a proactive year-round legislative action network. In other words, it's not just about his membership. It's not just making sure that those individuals who are out there in the work labor force are protected. It's not just about getting them health benefits. It's not just about getting them the salaries that they deserve. But the one thing I admire about Mario is that he and his membership are also out there fighting the good fight for all communities whenever they see an injustice, to make sure that they combat displacement whenever we need them on education, on health care issues, increasing the minimum wage that does not necessarily pertain to his membership, but they understand that other New Yorkers need that leg up so they can provide for their families. It's that unselfishness that we need from leaders who have such high responsibility but never ever forget that it's bigger than them and bigger than his membership. He's here fighting for all of us, whether you're Italian, whether you're in organized labor, whether you're from the Bronx or from Buffalo. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our first honoree, Mr. Mario Cilento.
Thank you. I always move the microphone down. It says something about my height, I guess. I don't know. I never move it up. Anyway, look, I just want to say thank you. I have a few people I want to thank. First, I have to say about Ruben, you know, as someone who was born and raised, lived in the Bronx for the first 30 years of my life, I am always so proud to come back home, because you always feel like you're back home when you come back to the Bronx. And Ruben is a big part of that, because, you know, everything he's done for this borough, everything he's done for working men and women and for families, whether you're a union member or not, Ruben never stops. He keeps going forward. He keeps persevering. He makes this a better place to live and to work and to raise a family. And for that, Ruben, I thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the labor movement, but on behalf of everybody who calls the Bronx home. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I just, you know, I'm honored to be here and to accept this award on so many different levels. Personally, of course, professionally on behalf of the AFL-CIO, as an Italian-American, and as someone, as I said, who was born and raised in the Bronx. You know, I was born in Westchester Square Hospital. Yeah, right? Went to PS 108, IS 144, Christopher Columbus High School, Fordham University. I was baptized at Mount Carmel. I know the father is still here. And you know, you realize things as you grow older, and things that you grew up with, and growing up in an Italian-American household, understanding that family is paramount, that your family is always there for you, no matter what it is you do, good, bad, or indifferent, and recognizing, in fact, the work ethic that you got from your parents, that my parents received from their grandparents, and I hope that my wife and I are passing down to our children, to my daughters. But the thing is this, I recognize only looking back, because you never realize these things as you're going through them. I realize that looking back, that's what set me on the path to do what I do, to be part of the labor movement. Because in the labor movement, we consider ourselves a family, an extended family. We call each other brothers and sisters in the labor movement. Your union brother, your union sister. That's what we call ourselves. And the reason is this. You know, you don't have to be blood related to be a member of a family. You really don't. You know, a family is basically a group of people who join together, who care about one another, who support one another, who help one another, and most importantly, pick each other up when one of us falls down, right? And heaven help anyone who picks on one of us. It means you have to deal with all of us. And that's what happened. Look, in my family, my sister and I are 2 years apart. We used to fight like kids fight, and you disagree. But if anybody else did it, they had to deal with me. And if I wasn't around, they had to deal with my father, which was, you know, you didn't want to have to do that. But you recognize that it's that bond that we all share, and that's what the Bronx is about, and that's what Ruben champions every single day. You know, your neighbors are your family. They don't have to be blood related. I grew up on Leidig Avenue, Williamsbridge Road, 1144 Leidig, and we had 48 families, Jeff Klein being one of them. And the other 47 households in that building were our family. You see them in the elevator, you see them in the lobby, you see them in the hall. Sometimes you invite them in for coffee. That's what you did. You were a family. And the Bronx, you know, is one of the most highly dense, unionized communities, not just in the state, but in this country. So we recognize in this room what it's like to stand up for one another, regardless of anything else, because that's the bond that we all share. And Ruben touched on it. It's a bond that says no matter who you are or where you're from, regardless of what your job title is, regardless of what sector you work in, regardless if you're a union member like me or not, regardless if you were born in this country or not, regardless of whether your parents were born in this country or not, regardless of the color of your skin or the religion that you practice, we all share a bond. You don't have to look alike or talk alike or sound alike to be part of a family. I look nothing like Ruben. I don't speak like Ruben. But I, in my heart, believe that Ruben is part of my family, and me, his, because we share those same values and principles and ideals, which is basically we all want to go to work every morning and support our families. We all want to be part of that economic engine that runs this city and this state and this country. And we all want to be productive members of society. That's what we want. And I know Ruben's heard this, but here's the thing. I have 3 daughters, and my little girls are 13, 11, and 6 years old. And at the end of the day, when I get home and I see them at night, all I want to do is I want to nurture them, I want to protect them, and I want them to have a better life than me. I want them to have a brighter future than I had when I was their age. If you're a parent, that's what you want for your children. If you're not a parent, that's what your parents wanted for you, because that's really the American dream. The American dream isn't about buying a new house or owning a new car. Those are residual effects of the American dream. The American dream in this country historically has been that we want the next generation to do a little bit better than the generation before it. We want the next generation to be a little bit more financially secure than the generation before it. And we want the next generation to have a brighter future than the generation before it. And the point is this, is that all of us in this room, no matter who we are or where we're from, Italian, Irish, German, Latino, African American, it doesn't matter. We are all one family. And when we stand together and join together and fight together and raise our voices together, then collectively we have that power to deliver that American dream to our children and our grandchildren and the generation after that. So brothers and sisters, I thank you for this award. Ruben, I thank you, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, not only for this award, but allowing me to be part of this wonderful, wonderful family in the Bronx. Thank you very much.
Let's give it up for Mario Cilento, my twin. Our next honoree is someone who has, if you know him, he's someone with a very few words, but a lot of action. He has a big heart. You know, Mario represents the labor movement, but when you speak of Italian Americans, they're also entrepreneurs. And this individual here, Steve Squitieri, embodies, in my opinion, the very essence and the spirit of being an Italian American. I say this because if you look at his story, he was born the fourth child of Matteo and Teresa Squitieri. They were of the Bronx. He's from the Bronx. You were born in the Bronx, Steve? Bronx born. He spent his youth here, attended public schools, and worked full-time with his father on a garbage truck. 4 years later, hold on, when he was a little kid, his father bought his own garbage truck and began collecting trash from commercial customers in the Bronx. And that's how Sanitation Salvage Corporation was begun. It was a family business in every sense of the word. Father Matteo drove the truck. Stephen and his brothers John, who's here, and Andrew rode on the back, hauling the trash. Their sister Louise answered the phone, and Teresa, their mother, made out the bills and kept the books on the kitchen table of the family's home right here in the Bronx. Think about that. This is where he learned the values of hard work at an early age and of his enterprising parents, from his enterprising parents. Though he wasn't very interested in school and probably a little mischievous, he soon learned to utilize his excellent memory, his aptitude with figures, and friendly ways with people as effective tools for business development. He opened and operated a candy store and then a deli grocery store in his father's Morris Park neighborhood. In 1984, along with his cousin, he opened a small cab company. He spent every day developing both sanitation salvage as well as city car, dividing his time between each company, 2 companies at a very young age, and establishing a reputation for service and repetitiveness and competitiveness in each industry. Now, more than 30 years later, he still works at both companies each day. The company that grew out of the city car, a multi-million-dollar corporation, recognized as an industry leader and models of quality and service of excellence. Sanitation Salvage is a leading waste hauler in New York, serving over 8,000 customers on a daily basis. This company, I don't want to put your business out there, but this company earns tens of millions of dollars on an annual basis. You've done well, my friend. I can go on and on and on, but hold on. So I'm going to say this. He has done well. His family has done well. No one gave them anything. They worked hard. They earned it. They still work hard each and every single day. It's still very much a family business. And they could go off and be anywhere they want to be on the planet. Many of you know in this room, every single time, if you are hosting a street festival, if you're doing a parade, if you're in Little League, a football program for kids, schools, whatever it is, if you knock on Steve's door, I don't want to get him in too much trouble here. I don't want to get him too many knocks on the door. But he also exemplifies what it means to be a good corporate neighbor. He never, ever says no. I wanted to do this, my friend, because you work hard, you bust your butt, you give back, and you hardly ever get recognized on a public basis. I know that you don't like to speak a lot, but you got to come up here and receive this award. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Squitieri.
He's right, I don't like to speak that much. But one thing I am going to say is thank you, Mayor Diaz. And that message was approved by Paul Del Duca. I just want to thank some people that are here today, and Ruben has said it, but Judge McKeon, Mark, Jeff, Paul, Marlene, I just want to thank them all for coming, but most of all, I'd like to thank my brother Johnny, who's helped us build the business, my cousin Joe, who's partners with me in City Care, and I'd like two people to stand up here, because they're going to be the next generation when we're no longer here. My nephew Joe and my son Stephen. And for Ruben, I've been through the South Bronx, the North Bronx, the East Bronx since I'm 15 years old. And more as I go, since he's been borough president, more building, more happening. I go down the street and say, where the hell did this come from? Where did this come from? What's this going on over here? So this man deserves to be mayor of New York. I say enough? I'm done. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Mario, Frank, the best of luck to you guys.
Let's give it up for Steve Squitieri. What a great guy. Fantastic man. Our final honoree, if you look again, Mario with labor, Steve with entrepreneurship. This next honoree is someone who has given of himself to public service. And Frank Randazzo, who was born in the Bronx, still lives in the Bronx. Frank lives in Throsneck with his wife. He has two daughters which he loves dearly, Olivia and Mia, currently a senior at Pelham Memorial High School in Westchester County. His parents are Maria, as well as we all remember the late, great Ben Randazzo from good old Morris Park. His mom came to America at the tender age of 12, and she and his father were married for 49 years. He attended Mount St. Michael Academy High School, Fairfield University for college, the Albany Law School of Union University, and Fordham University School of Law for law school. He is currently the public administrator of Bronx County. Here he oversees a city agency that upon appointment by the Surrogate Court of the Bronx County administers the estates of people that have moved on to a different place in the Bronx and where there is no one else qualified and appointed to do so. He was appointed to this position in March of 2013 by the Bronx County Surrogate, the Honorable Nelida Malave Gonzalez. Prior to becoming the Bronx Public Administrator, he previously worked at the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation and served as the Economic Development Consultant to the Bronx Borough President's Office as a senior manager of the organization. He went on to serve as a director of the Bronx portion of the New York Empowerment Zone. He was both a private practice attorney specializing in product liability work and an assistant district attorney in the Bronx District Attorney's Office. So he's an attorney, he can go on and make big money, but he continues to serve the people of the Bronx. He's a great guy. Ladies and gentlemen, our third honoree, Mr. Frank Randazzo.
You know what's tough? When you're here 5 minutes and you realize the priest has better jokes than you have. That really kills it. I want to say this first about the borough president. We all know he is a rising star. Governor Diaz. Ha, Steve. Okay. He may be busy coming. You might just sit tight. Just happen. No, he's a rising star. We all know that. But in political life, you will never meet a rising star that is more down to earth than Ruben Diaz. He is a regular guy, gives a great speech, lights up a room. But when the cameras go off, you could spend hours hanging out with Ruben Diaz. He is a regular guy, and that's why he relates so well to all of us. My fellow honorees, Steve, Mario, I'm proud to be among you. I have to tell one, I don't know Mario that well, but I have to tell one Steve Squitieri story. Many years ago, when I first met Steve, I barely knew him, but I knew what he did for a living. I knew he had sanitation and salvage. And I was doing something in Locust Point where I live, and we were having a parade the next day, and we decided, because geniuses that we decided to tear down a bunch of structures and make it nice for the next day for the parade. Never thinking, what do we do with all this junk we just tore down? Does anybody know anybody in the garbage business? Can you call somebody? And I had just met Steve, really got to know him. Friday before Labor Day weekend, Steve, it's Frank Randazzo. We have a mountain of wood and steel. Is there anything you can do? In 5 minutes, the most beautiful new garbage truck. I think the thing must cost $500,000. I wouldn't even let people put garbage in this. All right, I'd eat out of the back of this. It shows up, a driver shows up and loads everything. Wouldn't even let me help him. Puts it all in the truck for us. Wouldn't take a penny, and was on his way. Steve, John, Andrew is not here. The Squitieri family, what everybody said is true. Don't knock on his door tomorrow, but know that if you really need it, there is no better door to knock on than Steve Squitieri's, John Squitieri's, Andrew Squitieri. Italian culture, John Calvelli spoke about Italian culture, and I won't talk about that. I want to talk about what it means to me to be Italian. I just want to read a list. And for the purposes of this night, I'm only going to read the Italians, and I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. Forgive me if I do, but this is the list I want to read you. Benedetto, Benizio, Bolero, Calvelli, Colazzi, Conforto, Del Duca, De Luca, Delolio, DeCio, Galito, Guerrero, Lucania, Murano, Messina, Madonna, Squitieri times 3, Susi, and Ungaro. And if I forgot anybody, perdoname, okay? These people are all cut from the same piece of cloth. You need something, you ask. You don't even have to ask. If they look at your face and they can tell you need something, they do it for you. They're just wonderful people, and I'm not sure this is a particularly Italian trait, but I am likening it to an Italian trait tonight. Friendship, loyalty, support. This is the heritage of Italian Americans that I am most proud of. My grandmother once told me when I was a child, and I was reporting where we came from and we were talking about it, and I said, "Grandma, I'm Italian." She said, "No, you're not. You're an American of Italian descent." She insisted that that's what I was. I could not move her off that point. My mother's the same way. "Mom," I talk about Italy, let's go back to Italy. She goes, "Go back to Italy. I love Italy. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But I'm an American. You're an American." And that's how I've always thought of myself, my family. I just want to say thank you again, Mr. Borough President, to all my I want to mention two or three other people before I get off. John Benizio, Mike Ungaro, and Aurora Susi. I had a difficult year. Excuse me. had a difficult year. And John Morano, you cannot ask for 4 better friends in the whole world than these people. I haven't said it enough, but thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody.
Let's give it up for Frank Randazzo, yeah. I want to take, before I sit down, you heard this name, John Benizio, Metro Optics Eyewear. They donated for this event. Let's give them a strong round of applause. Thank you, John. We want to thank again the Bronx Zoo, Coca-Cola Company, Jerry from Good To Go Restaurant, Anthony Artuso from Artuso's Pastry Shop, Phil Morano from the Arthur Avenue Bid, who they donated the tenor singer. Let's give them a strong round of applause. And then last, I just want to bring up Nancy Indelicato. Where's Nancy? Come on, Nancy. You have something for us here, Nancy?
Yes, I do, but I want to say a few.
Go ahead.
I want to say a few remarks. I'm an Italian American who was born and raised in Boston. I live and work in Manhattan, but I have to say the Bronx in this event is one of the best places to be to celebrate Italian Heritage and Culture Month. And I'm glad you included a woman in the program. I give you greetings from our president, Joseph Shami, who is usually at this podium every year. He happens to be in Italy on a business trip, but what better place to celebrate Italian Heritage Month but in Italy and in Rome. So this is a special year for our committee. It is our 40th anniversary. It is 40 years of presenting, promoting, and preserving Italian language, heritage, and culture. And I have to thank President Diaz, his staff, and all of you here for doing the same for the Italian Heritage Group, but also for every ethnic group. And just a case in point, I'm watching TV this week, and I usually don't get to do that. Monday night, they're talking about the Art Biennial here in the Bronx. Another initiative, another art exhibit to bring the Haitian and Dominican community together. And then on Wednesday, there is President Diaz, full screen, with his beloved Mei Ling. That's his dog, if you don't know. He's opening a dog run in Soundview, and it happened to be on the Feast of St. Francis. And if you haven't had your animals blessed on that day, please run to St. Helena's Church on Sunday here in the Bronx, because they'll continue to bless the animals. So in that spirit of gratitude for all of you that show such pride and enthusiasm and love for Italian heritage and each other, I want to present the Borough President with our official poster this year, which represents the 40 years of posters and themes and educational materials that we've had. So, President Diaz, here it is.
And I want to present you with a proclamation commemorating Italian Heritage and Culture Month here in God's country, the borough of the Bronx.
In Napoli,
Sure, which one?
where love is king,